The Honor Magic 8 Pro is finally here. It's available globally and we're able to pick it up. The device itself I've had for the last couple of months and I've been using it, and I have to say that I've appreciated and I've come to love all of the improvements that Honor has put into this device. The generational upgrades that we've seen in the Magic series is obviously embodied in the Magic 8 Pro. We're talking about the camera system that we have in here. We're also talking about the battery capacity, the charging speed, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Also talking about the AI and some of the implementations that they have in there. We also have a nice side key now to be able to initiate the camera, take images, as well as interface with memories and different functionalities within the system. So to culminate the entire experience, the Magic 8 Pro is truly trying to give us the best that Honor has to offer. So without further ado, this is TK. This is the Honor Magic 8 Pro. Let's check it out and see what makes it so special. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. So I want to start off by saying, first and foremost, this, as you can see, is a thin box, which means we don't have a charger in the box. So pretty much other than the phone, you're going to get basically a USB-C to C cable and a SIM ejector tool. And that's pretty much what we're getting here. This is the Magic 8 Pro. The color that we have here is considered to be just black. That's one of the three available. There's cyan or sky cyan, and there is gold. So that means we have three basically options to be able to pick it up, but all three of them will have very much the same configuration. Now, the only difference I probably will say when it comes down to the different variations of the Magic 8 Pro is going to be the battery capacity depending on the market that you're in. In China, this version of the device will carry a 7200 milliampere battery. Outside of China, in the global market, with the exception of the EU, this will carry a 7100 milliampere battery, so still over 7000. And in the EU markets, it's going to be 6270, still considered to be a much higher battery capacity than most devices on the market. This will feature 100-watt wired charging and 80-watt wireless charging, so this is obviously very nice. And of course, the camera stack on the back is going to be very much the exact same on all of the different variants. The battery technology here is silicon carbon, just for reference. The cameras on the back are pretty much very nicely, they stack very nicely compared to some of the options on the market. The primary sensor is a 50 megapixel camera. They're calling it an ultranight lens. The telephoto lens also shares the ultranight technology as well as a 200 megapixel camera. And of course, the ultra wide is going to be at another 50 megapixels. So we're looking at a dual 50s and 200 in the back. When we switch it over to the front, we have a beautiful 6.71 inch Full HD Plus display. And as you can see here, we're able to assign lock screen video wallpapers and of course, always on display. As you can see it here, I can wake it up, unlock it, and it takes in and it looks beautiful. Again, 6.71 inch display. Peak brightness or spot peak brightness is going to be up to 6000 nits. And of course, global brightness, a highness of 1800, which means no issues using this indoors, outdoors, visibility, not going to be an issue. It does have an ever so slight curvature on the side of the actual display on the right, the front and on the back, but it still carries a flat surface so that it makes it easy to carry, but it doesn't make it so sharp on the edges. Ultrasonic fingerprint sensor in the front. We have a 50 megapixel front-facing camera accompanied with a 3D depth field sensor in here, which actually provides us some of the best experiences. I'll go ahead and wake it up, and as you can see here, I'm just going to unlock it. It recognizes my face and it goes forward. The main benefit here is that this is true face unlock. This is the closest we can get to what Apple provides us on their devices for an Android smartphone, because it actually uses a depth sensor and not just relying on a front-facing camera. I'm not saying it's not secure. I'm just saying this is the next level of security that Honor is putting into their devices. Power button on the right side, volume rocker on here. We have top-mounted speaker, microphone. On the left side, pretty much a clean slate. On the bottom, dual SIM tray capable on the bottom, USB-C, bottom firing speaker, and of course we do support eSIM. So it's a dual SIM or an eSIM functionality if you'd like to use that. Now, when it comes down to the actual UI, you probably have noticed already that we have the glass UI, or something, basically more of a transparent UI experience in here. Swiping down on the left side, we have the notification panel. Swiping down on the right side, we have access to the toggles as well, obviously to jump into setting, and a power menu. If we open up at the bottom, we can get access of additional ones. You can customize them. There's an 5G function here, NFC, dark mode configuration, location services, quick share. Actually, I thought I had already had that on. And of course, we have the option of being able to jump into settings. Now in the settings section, it's pretty straightforward. You can log into your Honor ID, similar to what we've done in the past. You have access to Wi-Fi configuration, mobile network, Honor Connect, of course the interconnected system between Honor devices, more connection options, Honor AI. And as you can see here, you can go through the different options, the AI suggestion, the AI button that is positioned on the right. That is one thing I didn't get a chance to explain real quick as we were going through there. And the button works in different modes depending on what you're using. We have the Magic Sidebar, Magic Text, AI Subtitles, AI Translate, Call Translation, AI Deepfake for voice cloning, detection, AI writing, smart sensing, AI gestures, and of course eye tracking, which is not calibrated because I haven't used that one yet on this system. Home screen configuration, display and brightness, as we talked about, you can customize it, sound and haptics. I love the fact that we have still under the battery section the ability of jumping into performance mode, balance mode, power saving, and ultra power savings. As you can see, at the current level that I have here at 94%, if I go ultra power savings, we can go up to 116 hours and 55 minutes. That is crazy, but I like to keep it in balance and or performance, depending on what I'm trying to do. The other thing that we're also able to do here is to go into digital well-being, user information and everything, check for updates and so on. There was one update that just got pushed up for us that was just putting us in here to the latest version. The version, as I mentioned to you guys, that I have here is the EU version. So it is the Honor Magic 8 Pro, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is the main processor. We have 12 gigs of RAM on this model, although there is going to be a 16 model with 1 terabyte. This one is the 12/512. It does have Honor RAM Turbo, which allows you to go in and add an additional number of gigs from the internal storage. 6270 for the battery, the Honor C1 Plus for connectivity, enhanced chip in here, the Honor E2 for, as well. Display resolution of 2808 to 1256, so essentially a full HD plus. Running MagicOS 10.0 with Android 16, of course, with Turbo X engine performance here. We also have the ability of using the AI key. So essentially, if I press and hold on it, it gives us a few options. There's the ability of jumping the circle to search. That's the Google version of the service, as well as the ability of using AI memory. Now, AI memory will take a screenshot of what you're looking at and analyze it and add it directly into the repository on the system here so that you can have a memory and of course, a little bit of a description. So you can not only take a screenshot or a snapshot of what you're doing, but you also will have a little bit better of an understanding of what it is. Especially if you find something interesting online, you want to be able to remember it. It's a quick, easy way to do it, and of course, customize it. If we go into the camera experience here, and I'll go ahead and just bring it in, this becomes actually our zoom level, which is absolutely fantastic. So that button really adjusts depending on what you're using. And of course, if I want to take a picture, I can snap it. And now at this point, it keeps my entire viewfinder open and ready to go. Of course, in video, as you can imagine, it's very nice and very accurate. It's nice to have this if you want to be able to use it. And again, if you don't, it's very straightforward. Just go ahead and use the standard on-screen configurations. Before I go too far, I do want to mention that I've been testing it on T-Mobile in the Los Angeles area. And when I've been doing my speed test, as you can imagine, it actually picks up 5G very clearly, as you can see here on the top. 384 down, 91 up. So it's very nice, very consistent, and I love the fact that it's compatible. That's one of my biggest things, especially when we try to import a device or use a device that was meant for a different region. Compatibility with our carriers is always going to be number one. So make sure to check that before you pick it up. Now, when it comes to Geekbench, again, purely for reference information here, this is obviously not going to explain how the system runs. It runs beautiful and there's no stuttering. In our standard mode, which is the one that we're going to use right now, we get 1763 single core and 5106 multi-core. When you jump into performance core, this just goes off the wall by 3683 and 10,724, which pretty much means that we're going to be getting the best experience out of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 using the Honor Magic 8 Pro. So a lot of RAM, a lot of great storage, fast stores and fast RAM, and of course a large battery to be able to keep us going for as long as we'd like. Whenever I've been using it for, let's say, gaming or even using to create content using the 8 Pro, I've been basically using it in performance mode, and I have been keeping it in performance mode for quite some time. So it's really nice to see that we don't have to worry about the performance mode draining the battery fast. Even at the 6270 milliampere, it is still larger than most devices, and in at least comparison to some of the main flagships on the market, we still have devices that are coming in with like 5000 milliampere batteries. So 6270 is absolutely out of the park. And again, if you get the global version that is not an EU model, you get even up to the 7100 milliampere, which is absolutely great. Now, when it comes down to the cameras, again, we talked about the main sensor and the ultra-wide being 50 megapixel cameras optimized for ultra-light. Basically, night photography is going to be one of the main shining parts here that Honor wanted us to focus on. The main telephoto lens here, the 3.7, takes us into that 200 megapixel camera. Of course, the 2 is just mostly a digital crop, and of course 10 is an additional crop on that telephoto lens. The ultra-wide is also a 50 megapixel at 12 millimeters. Switching it over to the front-facing camera, it is a slightly wider camera at a 0.8x, which allows us to shoot still 4K 60 frames per second video on all of the sensors that we have, even up to 4K 120 on the main sensors on the back. And as you can see here, 4K 120, so 720, 1080, 4K, 30, 60, and 120. This is going to be great for low light, as well also as performance when you want to be able to capture some high quality content at 120 frames per second. Before we go too far, let's do a quick audio and video sample from the main sensor on the back, as well as the main sensor on the front on the Magic 8 Pro. So I'm going to start off with the front-facing camera on the new Magic 8 Pro. We're shooting here obviously in the Grand Canyon. I'll go ahead and just do a quick panoramic. This is the front-facing camera. We're shooting in 4K, and of course the main experience here is going to be how does this perform with such a high contrast behind me. As you can see, there's pretty much a much more lit area at the top to a darker area because it's almost sunset here. But nice thing is that we're able to shoot in higher resolutions even when we go on the main sensors on the back. Let's switch over to the back sensors on the brand new Magic 8 Pro. Now when we switch over to the main sensor on the back, we can shoot up to 4K 120 frames per second out of the main sensor, and it actually mirrors the front-facing experience at the 4K 60 frames per second across the sensors that we have. This is still, again, the Grand Canyon. The processing should be a little bit better when we shoot with the main sensor on the back, and I think that's one of the things I appreciate about cameras like this, or systems like this. The camera experience is very nice, very well balanced. The telephoto lens, as you're going to see with some of the images here, look really, really good, and I am, for the most part, very honored, and no pun intended, to actually be in this experience. I've never visited the Grand Canyon like this, where we're actually on a plateau in the Grand Canyon right by the Colorado River, which is right behind me. So absolutely great experience. I hope that you guys are enjoying the audio and video sample from the brand new Honor Magic 8 Pro. So the clips that I just showed you guys was from a short trip that we took with Honor in the Grand Canyon, and it was an amazing trip. We had the opportunity to take a helicopter ride to the Grand Canyon, where we landed on a platform that was within the canyon. That wasn't like, typically if you've ever visited the Grand Canyons in the US, you end up having to watch it from the top and you're looking more downwards. Here you were so in the middle that you had kind of like a private landing area. They had some snack for us, and of course it was a smaller group, but it was an amazing experience there, and I felt like it was a really nice thing. I did post a reel showcasing some of the experiences there, and also some image samples from the S25 Ultra that I compared to obviously our Magic 8 Pro. So before we start talking about the S25 Ultra, let's go ahead and do the quick audio sample here. This is going to be Jumbo, our favorite song on the channel, NCS release from Alex Squindo. Jack it up. Okay, this has to be the loudest, the clearest, the crispest, and even the most bassiest sound that I've ever heard. Obviously, I mean, I'm looking at it, and truly feels like the speaker systems here have been not only tuned to be providing us louder, clearer music, but also bassier music. I can feel the bass, the vibration on the actual unit as we jumped into the actual, I guess, the main part of the song itself. So it's been great using it. Of course, you can download your content, you can download different games. Netflix works perfectly here. There's no question there. With it being a global version, we obviously have Google Play services preloaded in here. There's no question, no issues there. The main thing I probably will say, the overall experience that we start looking at this, is when you start comparing it to some of the other options on the market. Now, first and foremost, I tested this using the S25 Ultra when we were at the Grand Canyon. I also tested this while I had an opportunity to visit London. So I had some daytime and nighttime photography images that I'm sharing with you guys right now, showcasing the differences between the two, where I've taken the exact same images and I'm trying to basically showcase the benefit of what the ultra night photography cameras that we get here from the Magic 8 Pro. The S25 Ultra does actually well pretty nicely. I'm not saying that there's anything bad there, but again, just more of a reference information, and this is pretty much leaving it up to you guys to decide which one do you prefer more, the S25 Ultra's images or the Magic 8 Pro, which I feel like both still give us a very good experience. But I feel like the S25 Ultra sometimes doesn't shoot as well in the low light, especially at long distances, as the Magic 8 Pro's been doing. Again, you're looking at these images exactly from when they were taken by comparison between both these devices. When it comes down to gaming, as you can imagine, we also have a side launcher. This is the game manager that's available directly from Honor. You can customize different experiences, do screen recording, this the block notification. You can change the profile of the game here from balance to game mode. Of course, get the best experience and the best performance out of your device. Gaming on this obviously is not going to have any problems. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice. And if you'd like to pair them with a nice pair of glasses, like the glasses that pair over USB-C in here, you can even get a bigger display and use your device obviously for control. So there's no question that there's a lot of possibilities here with the Magic 8 Pro. One of the things I probably will say is the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is obviously the most powerful processor that Qualcomm has put to date. There's a lot of things that has been done here to provide us the best performance for that processor. From the cooling experience, the memory, the storage, all of those are augmenting the experience to give us the best, smoothest experience on the operating system. MagicOS 10 has been updated a few times since I've had this device. Again, I had it pre-launch, so early software to basically production software now available since the device is globally available. When I compare it to some of the other experiences that I've seen from Honor in the past, this is consistent with what they've offered us. I like the fact that we're able to use the AI functionalities in here to summarize articles. Let's say if you open up an article and it's like pages long, you can summarize it and of course then decide if you want to read the whole article or if this is just enough for you to be able to move on. Those are little things that basically I would call that quality of life assistance that helps us maybe save a few minutes here, rewrite an article, rewrite an email, rewrite a message, give you suggestions on what to add as far as hashtags and so on social media. There's, transcription, translations, a whole bunch of different functions that are built in here. And I love the fact that the side key is not a dedicated function, meaning it's not just one button to take us into like the memories. It's a button that works based on where you are. So it really functions and leverages what's on the screen and what you're doing. In the camera, it's a camera button. Outside of the camera, it's an AI button. If I'm on an article, it's a summary button. It works to wherever you are. So when it comes down to the experience of using this device and traveling with it and using it in a different experience, again, at CES, Las Vegas, London, here back in the US, it really has been a very, very powerful device. Battery life is excellent. There's no question that MagicOS or Honor has always strives to give us long battery life. So the 6275 here is not really feeling like it's too small, although there are, again, larger options depending on the model that you want to pick up. Just make sure whichever model you pick up that they do support the bands for the carrier that you're going to use it with. In LA, on T-Mobile, there's no question, it worked absolutely great. When I was traveling with it here in London, it worked absolutely great there. I downloaded an eSIM, worked right out of the box. There's no question there. I like the fact that everything in here is inclusive. The cameras are very strong, very nice. The exposure and the color science between the different lenses, as I'm showing you guys right now with some of these images, it actually looks really nice, at least within the sensors on the back. Like when you're jumping from the main to the telephoto to main back or even ultra wide, you'll notice that the color doesn't shift very heavily, which in some other cameras on the market, they do typically do that. They're like calibrated slightly differently from each other. So that's one of the nice things. Front-facing camera is pretty decent. I would probably say there's still slightly more exposure to the person in front of the camera than the background. So depending on how bright the environment is, there may be a little bit more exposed background. But I think in general, when you're taking like selfies and images like that, they work really nice. While I was in London, I got a chance to cover the event from this device, and I was posting from that device, created a few reels and shorts, and obviously what's going on directly from the event, from Honor's launch event in London. So that was really nice. And I appreciate what they have done so far. So at the end of the day, what I would say is this. This is literally the best that Honor has to offer to date. Not to say anything against the V series and some of the other options that they offer, but the Magic series is their flagship. This is their candy bar style device that offers the best experience for the long run. So you're going to get the best cameras, the best battery life, best displays, best support for software. Again, we're talking about, wireless projection still built in there, video output over USB-C. As you heard with the stereos, the best stereo speakers on this device to date. I'd probably say this, if there was a few things that I would probably say that I would have loved to see a little bit more, or maybe some optimizations. I'll say this. I really wish there was a case in the box. That's something that we don't get anymore, but I feel like with this device, because of the materials that they're using on the back, it's a little bit more softer on the hand. It's not as grippy as I would have loved it, and a case definitely would have been, like a clear case would have been really nice. The charger, you do need to pick up a charger directly if you want to be able to get the 100-watt charging, wired. Wireless as well, it has to be a proprietary charger from Honor. I think if you have a dock one from before, this is going to work. But otherwise, it works great. You can use standard PD chargers. You can use the Honor chargers. It's going to work just for the best performance. I wish that was included. Price point starts at about 1,100 euros or 1,100 pounds, depending on the market that you're in. And again, there are also other versions. I think the Honor Magic 8 Lite was also launched at the same time as this, which was also featuring a much more ruggedized experience, like the ability of putting it in ice, dropping it, throwing it. At the launch event, they were actually throwing it and playing basketball with the Honor Magic 8 Lite. So that was a crazy experience. So I don't want to go too much longer for you guys. I just want to say this is a great device. If you've ever used Honor and you're fans, this is not going to disappoint. This is just not only just going to meet your expectation, but even beat them. As it compares to some of the other options on the market in the same general area experience over there, I feel like this holds its own against the S25 Ultra. I'm not going to say, obviously, that this is a better choice. It depends truly on what you like as far as an experience of UI. But the images and the things that I'm sharing with you guys obviously will provide you a helping decision factor there. If this is something for you, or do you prefer one over the other? I like the S25 Ultra and I like the Magic 8 Pro. Both are great devices and they both shine in slightly different areas. With that being said, like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.